Up 192 units over the past 365 days, Ralph Michaels and Akeem Profit to that number one and number two in NBA profit combined. Sitting in number one is Ralph Michaels at 107 units, and right behind him in number two is Akeem Profit picking up 86 units. For a limited time, you can get 7 days of NBA picks from both Ralph Michaels and Akeem Profit for only $69, coming out to less than $10 per day or less than $5 per day per handicapper. This special discounted price includes all NBA client releases over the next 7 days, including any rare 5% NBA best bets generally priced at $35. You don't want to miss out on this 2-for-1 from our number two and one.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Thursday to you, November the 10th, and we've got a short card in the association tonight, just 4 games. We're going to touch base on them and see if we can't find some edges here to make a few bucks, and we're going to do it with 2 of the best here as we welcome in WagerTalk's Tony Mejia in the house and our good friend from sportsmemo.com, Mr. Ronald Cabang, Uncapper, in the house here. Gentlemen, welcome in here on this Thursday. Light card, Mejia, but certainly not light on action here tonight. What do you got for us over at WagerTalk.com?
Well, I mean, the NBA injury situation is in flux, so no NBA picks yet, but there will be some. And we got 3 hours till tip-off for the injury picture to become clearer. We do have an NFL package up. Hopefully some college football stuff tonight, and definitely some college basketball stuff with a more robust card than we've seen since Monday. But it's been a tough 24 hours, and the hurricane has been the lightest part of my time. Last night, man, the Bucks Thunder game took years off my life. It was a 4% play, my top play of the day. My 2 props came in really easy. It was the Durant assist thing we talked about, the Devin Booker assist thing that was my free play here on the show. We won with the the Nets rather easily, lost the Mavericks, and so it all hinged, a big night hinged on the Thunder plus 1.5 against the Bucks. And that SGA shot was tremendous, puts us up 1 with 0.6 to go, and an unnecessary foul is called. That sends Brook Lopez to the line, and we still rooting for him to make 2, splits it, and then in double overtime we get beat. So very disappointing ending there. Haven't seen, and I don't think it comes out for another hour, the last 2 minutes report. But as Ronald Cabang can probably tell you, those things are no consolation. In fact, they rub salt in the wound, and I despise them. So we'll hope to bounce back today. But it's been a great run in NBA, 24-9-2, and yesterday's 2-0 run on props makes us 11-1 over our last 12. So hope to stay hot.
All right, looking to keep it rolling. I know Mr. Cabang is doing the same thing. Uncapper, sportsmemo.com. You continue to cash tickets here. What do you got going tonight for us?
Yeah, I did pretty well yesterday. The NBA 4-2 in the NBA. Did also cash a college football play as well. So 5 overall yesterday. Hoping to just continue the winning ways here. I am Sports Memo's #1 all-time leader in NBA profit after a couple seasons with them. So just hoping to continue just adding on to that lead. Up already double digit in units so far this season, and these small slates are a good way to kind of really focus on specific games. Yesterday there's like 13 games or something like that. It's really hard to kind of focus on each one because there's so much noise with all the games going on. And like Tony said, though, these injury reports are starting to get really funky because, I mean, even with the Portland game later, I capped it without I was thinking that Lillard was going to play, but he was eventually called out for injury management. So that was something that I didn't see coming.
Yeah. No, it's the roulette here is what we get in the NBA, guys. We know it all too well, unfortunately, but only 4 games on the slate here tonight. We'll try to touch base on each of them, and we'll start with what would have been the contrarian play of the day, and it's going to have to be Washington getting 5 now with the injury report coming out. Looks like Kristaps Porzingis is questionable here. Wood is still out for Dallas, but I think the question earlier today was, will Luka will he play on the second leg of a back-to-back, especially one in which he sucked really good last night? And I guess the answer is yes. I don't see him on the injury report, Mejia, so it is up to 5. Are you buying the market move here, or is there some value in Washington now?
I mean, there would be value in Washington if Porzingis plays, and it sounds like he's going to warm up, and it'll be a game-time decision. So you probably won't know in time to make that decision, which takes it off the board for me. Strange game yesterday in Orlando. It was an early start, obviously, because of the Hurricane Nicole. And then the Mavericks were up by 4, I think, at the end of 1. So solid start. I think Luka had 17 at the break. He was playing pretty well. They were overcoming the absence of Christian Wood. Maxi Kleber was getting more minutes. And actually, I believe a stat I saw this morning was that the Mavericks lost despite the best turnover differential of the year in a loss. So I think it was plus 14 or something like that. So the Magic were sloppy. The Mavericks weren't. But down the stretch, when win time came to pass, Luka Doncic just looked, a hair short. He was off on his jumper. The ball wasn't moving quite as crisply as it normally does with Dallas, where they look for the open shot. So, and I don't think that was tied to Christian Wood whatsoever. To affect this game tonight, the Mavericks could not fly out of Orlando because they shut that down at the airport at 4 p.m. So they had to bust down to Tampa post-loss, and they got into D.C. safely last night. So they should be good to go. I mean, we're going to see the same starting 5, I do believe, even with no Christian Wood coming off the bench, obviously. So that'll be more minutes for Kleber and Josh Green. And we'll see about the Wizards and what they do without Porzingis. I would imagine more Daniel Gafford, more Rui Hachimura off the bench. And certainly a concern with no Bradley Beal is that they start Corey Kispert to try to spread the floor. He's not much of a defender yet, being as raw as he is. So if you like anything in this game, and this might be a client play for me, it would be Dallas in either the first quarter or first half. Just because I think the synergy will be there for them. But again, you have to wait to see if Porzingis is out.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little revenge spot for him there, Ronald. If Porzingis can go, he'd love to go up against Dallas. But the reality is they have sucked against the number. 0-5-1, 0-6. They're not covering. And what's even scarier is that when Doncic leaves the court, so does all the offense for Dallas. So what do you do here, Ron? I mean, it's moved to 5. Is there any value looking at the dog here?
Well, I mean, full transparency, I did already give this out to clients at -3.5. This is a spot that I think that was just the Mavericks here. I think coming off of a loss yesterday to the Magic, there's something that I look back to from even previous seasons. Dating back to last season, Mavs and Luka, they just don't like to lose 2 games in a row. Them, along with Jason Kidd and their combination of the player and coach and their competitiveness, it's just something about losing twice in a row that they don't like. They're 29-12 straight up since the last season, and then 29-11-1 against the spread since last season as well. I know it's a little bit of a different team than last season. They're not much of a deeper team as much, with Brunson leaving, but they. And Wood is out as well today, but at the same time, they're already 3-0 straight up, 2-0-1 against the spread in that same situation so far this season. So it has translated over. That trend has translated over into the season. One thing that we talk about a lot is that rest advantage, right? And the Wizards have that, but for some reason, the Wizards themselves as a team, they're not successful in that situation. I looked up how the Wizards do in 2 days rest spots, and they're 4-10 straight up, 2-10-2 against the spread dating back to last season. Also 0-1 straight up and 0-1 against the spread in that same situation this season. So that also has translated over. The average full game margin of those games -7.6. So they're losing by margin there in those spots. Another thing that I looked at as well is how they do without Bradley Beal, and without him, and with them being home dogs without Bradley Beal in the lineup, dating back to last season, 2-9 straight up, 3-8 against the spread. A lot of things to me are pointing towards Dallas. I know the line is moving in that direction, and probably a very public play, but to me, a lot of things are just pointing in that direction. I can probably go with either the first half or the full game with the Mavs here.
All right, liking the Mavs. They've been very profitable first half. It's just full games. Things start to go off the rails, unfortunately. Doncic, by the way, has played in every Dallas game so far, averages about 36, 37 minutes a game. He'll be back at it tonight, taking on the Wizards. All right, let's take a look here, a featured matchup for us, guys, and it's a pretty good one. The 76ers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. It is 1 now. It's about 1.5 early this morning. We're seeing 1. We're seeing 222. Now maybe even starting to creep up a little bit. 223 right now for a total. And Mahir, we were talking about the injury report. No Embiid on this report. No Trae Young on this report. So outside of PJ Tucker, which appears to be the only Sixer that would be out of the ordinary, pretty much full boat for both teams here.
Yeah, and the Hawks are coming into this one on the second of a back-to-back, so that's a concern, especially since Trae Young was a game-time decision entering the loss to Utah, shot 10 for 28, and is now worst in the NBA among players that qualify with shot attempts at shooting 37-point-something from the field. So not a great start to the season for Trae Young. He's had some good moments, but it's certainly DeJounte Murray's team over the first few games, so that's something to monitor. See if Trae can get going, but he was a little winded yesterday, so this would normally be a Philly spot for me, especially on the rest, considering they didn't play they didn't play last night, and Joel Embiid declared that anything that happened before the other night didn't happen. So if you lost the bet on Philadelphia, be sure to contact your book and they'll refund your money because Joel Embiid said so. The Philadelphia Phillies apparently playing so long into November affected the 76ers, and now that they're gone, the show is really on. And Embiid was great the other night, and you can count on him having a good game tonight because he seems to eat Clint Capella's lunch anytime he sees him. Capella is a smallish center, and compared to Embiid, there are advantages that he is able to exercise against him. He'll have Tobias Harris next to him, but I think it's really key to have P.J. Tucker in that mix, and we'll see if P.J. plays. He's questionable for tonight. Such a glue guy. Daniel House, who did not play the other in the win over Phoenix, is also coming back from an illness, so they'll be deeper. Georges Niang played way too much the other night. He's better off in small spots. And Montrezl Harrell fell out of the rotation completely, which was strange to see. So I think Doc's still tinkering. No James Harden, obviously, so this becomes Tyrese Maxey and Anthony Melton backcourt, and they'll pressure you and press, and that will be fun to watch against Trae Young if he's winded, and obviously Murray. So even though it's in the highlight factory and Atlanta's typically good at home, I would lean towards an under game because I think it'll be very competitive and the shooting may not be so straight. And I would take Philly plus the points. But again, P.J. Tucker would have to be part of that equation for me to feel truly comfortable about that.
Yeah, you've certainly been part of any defense the Sixers would play with no Tucker. That hurts them there, Ronald. But once again, with the Atlanta Hawks, are they going to play defense tonight? If you know that answer, you probably have a pretty good idea whether or not they're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, bring up a lot of good points. And I too think that the PJ Tucker downgrade to questionable is pretty important. I know the Sixers are coming off a 12-point win without James Harden on Monday, when they played the Suns, but Suns were coming across the country. It was their first road game off of a pretty long homestand there. So that was a situation where we can kind of see, Embiid coming back and the travel spot for the Suns that I could see why they took care of business against the Suns. But in this situation here, the Jazz, the Hawks are coming off of an outright loss to the Jazz yesterday. I know they're on the second leg of back-to-back home games, also third game in 4 nights, so that the rest disadvantage is there. They also have a tough schedule coming up. They play the Sixers twice, right? they're at home tonight. Then they go to Philly on Saturday. They got the Bucks, Celtics, Raptors, and Cavs. I think, if they're looking ahead in this spot here, I feel like they know they're going to be tired towards the end of this schedule, that they might just kind of go all in these early games here, which is starting today with the Sixers. I know if PJ Tucker is out, I feel like it might be George Niang that kind of slides into that power forward position, and he's really not a great defender. And Maxey, I'm looking at his plus minus on the defensive box score, and it is a negative. So, I think defensively he might be a way that Trey can kind of get back into a groove offensively here. What we need to worry about, though, is the fact that I think the Atlanta Hawks are one of those teams who might be like, those load management, injury management teams that kind of wait till the last minute to call out either Trey or DeJounte, because those guys are interchangeable, right? I feel like they feel like they could probably be successful with or without just one of them on the court. So I would wait a little bit to see if PJ's out. Also, if Atlanta does anything with their roster as well, and kind of just look towards that first quarter here, where I feel like the defensive side of the ball on Philly will be kind of be impacted by PJ Tucker in that starting lineup. And then on the other side, you have a team that really wants to get started going early with the Atlanta Hawks. They didn't do that yesterday, and I think they're going to try to do that today. So for me, Atlanta first quarter, and maybe an overlook in the first quarter as well. I don't think both starting lineups, if PJ Tucker is out, will probably have no defense going on.
Yeah, no, it's just not could be ugly, but wait until you get the report there, guys. There is another game here down the road for me tonight. Miami taking on the, shall we say, offensively challenged Charlotte Hornets here, who anybody want to lend them a point or two? Because they can use all they can get. 10.5, 11 is what we're seeing in the marketplace now. The total, 214. I'm seeing 214s and a half in some places as well. It's been a rough go here. Injuries obviously kind of decimated this Charlotte Hornets team here, Tony Mejia. But again, it's not like Miami is an offensive juggernaut. So what gives here tonight? You laying the double digits against Charlotte?
I would love to lay double digits. I would love to see Tyler Hero out there if I'm doing that, though. He's questionable with an ankle injury after missing the other day. Same thing with Caleb Martin, dealing with a quad issue after missing the other night. We know his twin, Cody Martin, will not play for Charlotte. Gordon Hayward out as well. And remember when Gordon Hayward had pictures of himself hanging out outside the arena when they were trying to recruit him? So he's back, and I think Miami dodged a bullet by not signing him. And now we have to call that the arena on Biscayne Boulevard because FTX is going to dissolve, I guess. So we'll see what they end up calling that building. But in that building tonight, I think the late arriving crowd will see Miami dominate. I just don't know if I want to lay double digits without Tyler Hero. Max Strus moves into the starting lineup if Hero doesn't play. And one thing we do know is Eric Spoelstra has really shortened up that rotation. Without Hero and without Caleb Martin, only 8 guys got serious minutes the other night. And we'll see if it's Dedmon and Duncan Robinson as the primary guys off the bench again tonight. And certainly it's tough to cover a spread. Even with the guys out, Steve Clifford has got a deeper bench going, but I don't trust Dennis Smith Jr. and Terry Rozier to get much going offensively for the Hornets in half-court sets if Jimmy Butler's running around wreaking havoc with the way he does, stealing the ball and playing off his man. And, this is a game that if the Hornets are going to cover, they're going to need P.J. Washington and Kelly Oubre Jr. to hit the 3 ball, and those guys are about as inconsistent as it gets to doing that. So heat or nothing for me.
Heat or pass there for Mejia. Ronald under 7-1 in the last 8 for Charlotte. No surprise there. I mean, hell, do they make it to 100 points here tonight? Because the team total, I think, is 101, 101.5. How do you approach this game?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be touching any overs with Charlotte here until Melo comes back. But they're struggling right now. 3-9 this season, lost 6 straight, including that loss to the Blazers last night, who were shorthanded as well. So I feel like this is a bad spot for them, playing the second leg of back-to-back home to road games. So there's travel involved there. I know the Heat 4-7 this season, lost 2 straight. They're not the team that they were before. Even before the season, I was thinking that this team was going to be a play-in team at best. And, here we are. But 10.5, 10 and a half, a line here is sort of a telling story, in my opinion. I just feel like they're the more rested team, right? This is the third game in 7 nights, and for the Hornets, fifth game in the same amount of nights. So there's a lot of rest advantage there for the Heat here. I think this is just a great kind of get right here for the Heat. I do want to wait until Harrell's status is announced, officially. But I mean, I think 10 and a half right now is still fine with or without him. I think the Hornets are really just struggling in all aspects of the game here. One thing that I looked at was dating back to last season as well. When the Heat play the same team in back games, they're 8-1 straight up, 7-1-1 against the spread in game one if they're the home favorite, and that's the situation they're in today. In those 8 wins as well, those 8 straight up wins, their average margin of victory is 16 points. I feel like the double-digit line doesn't really matter here. I think the Heat take care of business. They were in that spot earlier this season against the Raptors. They did push on a short line at home, -3, but they were on the second game of back-to-back. Now they're rested with 2 days rest. To me, it's just Heat or nothing as well.
All right, Heat or nothing for Ronald Kabang. There is one more game, guys, Portland and New Orleans, but I think Lillard has now been announced out. It's a back-to-back for both of these teams, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult to forecast here. -9 in the marketplace, 222. You guys can feel free to break that game down if it's a best bet of yours. But that is where we're at right now. It is time to put 60 seconds on the clock and figure out which one of these games you might be looking at for a best bet. Here, go ahead. 60 seconds, man. Tell us, what are you looking at?
Oh, let's go in the deep end. Let's go ahead with the Blazers and Pelicans. I think that the Pelicans are the way to go because we've got 2 teams on the second night of a back-to-back, as you referenced, and one of them is much deeper than the other. We've got Keon Johnson probably coming back and available, but still, Yusuf Nurkic is questionable. So is Grant. Dame is out, so you're going to have Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons playing major minutes. No C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard reunion game. That would have been the first tonight, so that's a shame. I think McCollum will still turn up. Herbert Jones to bother Anthony Simons. I like that. I like Jonas Valanciunas against Yusuf Nurkic or without him. Larry Nance Jr. might return, so this is potentially blowout city, but we'll go in the first half with the New Orleans Pelicans beating the daylights out of the Blazers on a second night of a back-to-back.
All right. Boom! Getting it done there with New Orleans. Ronald, how about you, my man? 60 seconds on the clock. What's your best bet here tonight?
Yeah, going back to the game that we spoke about earlier, the Mavs versus Wizards game, a lot of things are just pointing to the Mavs here. Obviously, one thing that I mentioned earlier, not losing back-to-back games with the Mavs here, 29-12 straight up, 29-11-1 against the spread in that situation, dating back to last season. Already 3-0 this season, including this season. And a lot of things fading the Wizards, how they do in rest spots, 2-10-2 against the spread, dating back to last season on 2 days rest. Average margin -7.6 in those games. Also without Beal in the lineup, 2-9 straight up, 3-8 against the spread. Looking back and seeing how bad the Mavericks shot last night, under 40%, dating back to last season as well, 9-3 straight up, 8-3-1 against the spread. The next game, they shoot a lot better, around 48% in those situations. So for me, it's all about the Mavs.
All about the Dallas Mavericks to get it done here, guys. And, of course, let us not forget, one more time to recap, you've got yourself Tony Mejia in the first half. Lay the 5 with New Orleans going up against a Lillardless. Wow. You like that? Putting that on a T-shirt, huh?
Very nice.
Yes, Portland Trailblazers team. And Mr. U-Capper, Ronald Kabang, he likes Dallas guys to get it done. Lay the 5 tonight against the Wizards. And don't forget, you head over to WagerTalk.com. Visit Tony Mejia, locked and loaded, ready to go here tonight. We got football, college hoops, NBA, a little something for everybody. And, oh, yeah, let's not forget, too, sportsmemo.com. You get Ronald Kabang there, been on fire, crushing it at sportsmemo.com. You can visit his page today, guys. Go grab those best bets for tonight. And, heck, any one of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages Partner up, man. There's nobody better over at sportsmemo.com than Ronald Kabang. Also hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure you come back. Loaded card here tomorrow in the association. We'll have our best bets and, of course, game breakdowns for you. Until then, on behalf of Ronald Kabang and Tony Mejia, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Up 192 units over the past 365 days, Ralph Michaels and Akeem Profit to that number 1 and number 2 in NBA profit combined. Sitting in number 1 is Ralph Michaels at 107 units, and right behind him in number 2 is Akeem Profit picking up 86 units. For a limited time, you can get 7 days of NBA picks from both Ralph Michaels and Akeem Profit for only $69, coming out to less than $10 per day or less than $5 per day per handicapper. This special discounted price includes all NBA client releases over the next 7 days, including any rare 5% NBA best bets generally priced at $35. You don't want to miss out on this 2-for-1 from our number 2 and 1.